Many people might not know this, but Metroid is one of my favorite video game series and my favorite Nintendo series. So today, there's no opening egg. This is some serious Now that it's been a year since I first beat Metroid Dread, I decided to talk about all of the Metroid games, at least the mainline games. And what better game to start than the original NES Metroid game from 1986. Metroid, one of the best things conceived by humanity. It cannot be understated the impact Metroid made for the gaming industry. At this point it's a genre, you know, Metroidvania, the genre that almost every modern indie game is. Every Metroid game consists of Samus Aran, our protagonist, trying to escape a labyrinth while recovering every upgrade for her suit, just to lose it all in the next game. Metroid may not be as popular as Mario or Zelda, but it's massively underrated, and it's no surprise that Metroid Dread sold more than 3 million copies and got nominated for GOTY in 2021. But every series has its genesis. It's 1986, the Nintendo Entertainment System has been selling, and a new game called The Legend of Zelda just released in the US and it's a massive hit. But in Japan, Nintendo Research and Development 1 is developing a new game for the new Famicom Disk System, and that new game is Metroid. Metroid released for the Disk System in August of 1986, and 1 year later in the US. It was part of the Grey Box movement of 1987, and it was the only one next to Kid Icarus. Later they replaced it for the yellow one. The Grey Box is cool and iconic, I love it. The yellow box art is also pretty good, but it doesn't compare to the European box art. This one is my favorite and I don't know why. It's probably because of how realistic it is, it fits Metroid pretty nicely. Metroid 1 had many re-releases, the Wii, Wii U and 3DS Virtual Console and Switch Online are some examples. And it got a remake in 2004 for the GBA in the form of Metroid Zero Mission. But that game looks vastly different from its predecessor, so I'll save that one for another time. Okay, let's do it. Let's play Metroid 1 on Nintendo Switch Online. I already explained what Metroid consists of, so I won't get into the story that much in this one. But all that I have to say is that this is not called Metroid, this is a Metroid. Metroids are highly aggressive creatures on the planet CR388, so we need to kill them all. Metroid 1 may be old, but the world is massive for an NES game. Outsiders may look to this map and go crazy. Well, but Metroid 2 puts this one to shame with its map, but we'll get there eventually. So yeah, this is the smallest map of a Metroid game. This is why these games take too long to finish. But man, speedrunners absolutely demolish these games in just a couple of hours, it's crazy. Now getting to actual Metroid 1, we first start at Brinstar and that's where we get our first ability, the Morph Ball. The Morph Ball is a series staple for Metroid. Samus can turn into a small ball and just roll around. And that's not all, we also get the Long Beam and the Ice Beam. The Ice Beam, in my opinion, is the best beam in this game, none compared to this one, don't even bother with the other ones. We also need it for a later part in the game, that's why there's two places with the Ice Beam. Later on in Brinstar, we get Bombs and Missiles. Bombs is an ability in which you can place small bombs while in ball form. It's good to kill small enemies and jump to high places. There's also the Fairy Suit. You only obtain it later on, but there's a bug where you can get it early. It reduces damage taken and it gives you immunity to high and low temperatures. Not long after, we move on to Norfair, and that's where things start to heat up. No pun intended. Here we got the High Jump ability and the Wave Beam. Don't even bother picking this one up, the Ice Beam is the best one. And we also get the best ability in the Metroid series and series icon, the Screw Attack. You only need this and the high jump ability and you can travel in the most satisfying way ever. Ridley's Hideout doesn't have any new abilities, because believe it or not, we now have all of them. Past Ridley's Hideout, there's nothing new. We fight Ridley, yes, that guy from Smash Bros. Just use the Ice Beam and that's it. One thing that bothered me is Ridley's size, but we'll talk about this in a few. In Kraid's Hideout, we have the best song in the game and two bosses, Fake Kraid and Real Kraid. Kraid is supposed to be easier than Ridley, but I found him more difficult than Ridley. About the character size, Ridley and Kraid are smaller than Samus in this game. In comparison to the next installments, Ridley becomes a giant beast and Kraid is just humongous. Torian is our final area, and this is where our first Metroids appear. To beat them, you just need to hit them with the ice beam a couple of times. I suggest killing some of them, not every single one, just the ones that are in the wrong spot. Our final boss is Mother Brain. Now this one is actually tough compared to the other two bosses, but it's not that crazy. The game ends with escape sequence, because of course it does. We finally finished the game. What? Samus is a girl? Yeah, nowadays everyone knows and it's common knowledge, but everyone in the 80s were acting crazy like this was the return of Christ. The game has 3 endings depending on how much time it took to finish the game. One where Samus is wearing the full armor, one without the helmet, and one where she's only wearing her bodysuit. So, yeah, that was basically the first Metroid, and it was pretty good. Yes, the game is old and is definitely showing its age, but I think it still holds up to this day and it's my favorite NES game, better than Super Mario Bros. And Wario's Woods. It's the start of my favorite Nintendo franchise, and I'm glad it started great. Because of it, we got Super Metroid, Metroid Prime, Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime Pinball, and of course, Metroid Prime Federation Force and Metroid Prime Blast Ball. I never leave a bathroom without playing a match of my favorite 3DS game, the one about the balls.